Tonight, the Carolina Hurricanes are taking on Boston Bruins in game two of their Eastern Conference first round series. The Hurricanes dominated in game one. In today's episode, find out how they can do the same in game two.
You're Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Caniacs. I'm your host, Jared Ellis, and you're listening to Locked On Hurricanes on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And as always, I'd like to thank you for making Locked On Hurricanes your first listen on this Wednesday afternoon. And you can follow myself on Twitter at JaredEllis_96 and the show on Twitter and Instagram at LO_Hurricanes. Rate the show 5 stars on whatever streaming platform you're listening on and subscribe on YouTube. And in today's episode, folks, we will be diving into game two of the Eastern Conference first round series between the Carolina Hurricanes and the Boston Bruins. Now, as I mentioned, the Hurricanes really dominated game one. And I think that was really pivotal in setting the tone for this series because I feel that the Hurricanes needed to do that. And, they dominated the regular season series with the Bruins being outscored 16 or 17-1 in the regular series. The Hurricanes really handled business all regular season long. And I liked seeing that continue over into the postseason, and the Hurricanes really, other than that first period, not really miss a beat when it came to playing the Boston Bruins. And in that first period, the Bruins arguably won that period, but Antti Raanta, he made 35 saves on 36 shots on goal in game one. And he's the reason, we went into the second period, at 0-0. So, heading into game two, what I really want to see the Hurricanes work on is not getting off to slow starts anymore, because I think that's something that they really, really need to improve upon in this playoff. Again, game 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it may be in this series, and then the next series, and so on and so forth. Because the deeper you get into these playoffs, the harder it's going to be to come back from these, slow starts. Not every game you're going to have, your goaltender playing out of his mind and keeping you in those games. So you need to not get out to slow starts. Seriously, that is my big thing with this game. We'll talk about it more in keys to victory, of course, but we can't be doing that. And even if the period does end 0-0 again, at least have the game in your favor. Have the momentum on your side, because for the large majority of that first period, it was the Bruins period. And then you look to the second period, the Hurricanes started getting a little bit of momentum at the end of the first, and that carried into the second. And they didn't score until late into the second period, but they still had momentum on their side throughout the period, and they were controlling the game. And that's going to be big. Even if you're not scoring a ton of goals, control the game. Make them play your game, and that's going to be for this game. And I mentioned folks, not necessarily needing to score. You have momentum in your favor, but you look at the last game, you had 12 different players record points in game one. And you're obviously not going to always have 5-1 type games. I know that, that, but I've said really from the beginning of this season, up until right now, that the team is at their best when they're playing a balanced, complete team game. When you have guys on the top of the roster to the very bottom, guys up and down the lineup chipping in offensively. It's not just the top guys, it's not just the depth guys either. It's every single guy. And that's what we had in game one. And that was one of my biggest positives from game one is that we're able to play that full, complete team game. And if the Hurricanes can continue to do that, I think they got game two as well. They're on a 7-game win streak, including the end of the regular season where they had won 6 straight, and then game one where they obviously won that. So I think that's going to be really, really good for the Hurricanes. Yeah, if they can just continue that team play that they've been doing for 7 straight games. I mean, obviously a little bit before that as well, but yeah, that's when it's really they're heating up and they're gaining momentum, and that's really, really big. And yeah, I talk about the Hurricanes having 7 straight wins. Seth Jarvis is absolutely killing it right now because points in 8 straight games between game one and the end of the regular season. He's absolutely killing it right now and doing exactly what we need him to do. I said in yesterday's episode that he's a guy, you want all of your guys that are supposed to be scoring goals to be scoring goals. And Seth Jarvis at right now, he's one of the guys you need to be scoring goals and showing up on that score sheet. But on the flip side of that, kid's 20 years old. And if he earned his spot here in the NHL. It wasn't given to him. He worked his butt off to get here. And at one point you're like, okay, yeah, he's gonna be like, yeah, he's good, but he's gonna be more of like a depth kind of piece. And he's not necessarily gonna be a guy that you're counting on to show up on the score sheet all the time and really take him. And you look at in game one and just how he's been heating up and whatnot. So he's a guy that I'm really hoping he can continue his momentum that he's having. He wasn't a guy that you're necessarily expecting to take a big workload, but he is, and he's taking that big workload. And I want to see that continue into this game. And an interesting move that the Hurricanes made the other day on the second, shortly before the game, was that they recalled Jack LaFontaine from the AHL. I think that's a really interesting move of way they would do that. I think is just more so like on an emergency type basis, just to have that extra guy. How last year, we were allowed to have 3 goaltenders. I think it's more so just that type of situation because Freddie Anderson is still listed as hurt. Hopefully he'll be back soon. But I think that's really, just because Freddie may not be coming back, as soon as we thought. And, he's obviously going to be back soon. But I think, maybe the Hurricanes were expecting him to be back, in time for game 2 or game 3. And maybe he still would be back in time for game 3. But, for game 2, not going to be the case. So I think that was really just on just an insurance policy, really, because Alex Lyon, my understanding, he's still hurt. So they can't necessarily bring him back yet or recall him, excuse me. So I think I don't think LaFontaine will see any playing time. I don't. I honestly don't even see him suiting up. And that's not a knock against the kid or anything like that, but I don't see him suiting up. I mean, unless, we have an injury or something like that, but I don't see him suiting up at all. I don't see him backing up. I don't see him starting. Frankly, I don't even see him relieving someone. But, I think it's just an insurance policy pretty much. But, we also, have a big milestone on the line for, this game. There's several, but I think this is really the biggest one, I guess you would say, because Yeah, this is one that, yeah, there's a lot of playoff milestones in reach right now with guys, and we'll talk more about those probably in tomorrow's episode. But this is one I wanted to touch on today because this is one we could seriously see happen tonight, and that's Jacob Slavin being 1 point away from most points by defenseman in postseason franchise history. And I love that. Obviously, there's a big span there of the Hurricanes not making the playoffs, and they haven't been the most consistent playoff team in really ever. So to be able to see a guy, get this milestone in 4 postseasons is really, really cool. And I hope he gets it. He's obviously going to get this postseason, and I hope he gets it tonight. I think that would be really, really cool to see that happen at home at PNC Arena in Raleigh, in front of the home crowd. Set a record like that. That's something you want to happen at home. Obviously, it's cool to happen regardless anywhere, but I think that would be something really cool to see at home. But we touched on keys to victory a little bit ago, and we will dive into those keys to victory and just what the Hurricanes need to do to really, really come away with the win in this game right after this quick break. Now, folks, spring is here. Summer's right around the corner. It's starting to get pretty hot outside. It's North Carolina. We all know how hot these summers get. And Rock Auto is here to help you get your car ready for summer. This episode is, of course, brought to you by Rock Auto. And with the ever increasing numbers of makes and models, it's now impossible for your local chain auto parts store to stock all the parts that you need. Why endure often pointless or seemingly intimidating questioning and wait while the person behind the counter orders the parts on their computer, choosing the only brand that their warehouse happens to carry? You have computers with access to rockauto.com at home and in your pocket right now. So save time and money when using Rock Auto. Why choose to spend 30, 50, or even 100% more on these same parts from a chain store or car dealership? Rock Auto is a family business serving do-it-yourselfers for over 20 years. Rock Auto prices are reliably low for every customer. They have everything you could need, from brake parts, tail lamps, motor oil, new carpet, and of course, those all important air conditioning parts this summer. So go explore their easy to use website today and find the solution to all of your auto parts needs. Go to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or truck. Right, lock on in there. How did you hear about us spot so they know that we sent you? Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need at rockauto.com. Now, these keys to victory, they're going to be very, very important. And I've obviously touched on some of these in many past episodes, but I think it's still very, very important. And I talked about one, and that's not getting out to a slow start. Come out of the gate hot, and because I said that the Boston Bruins, I said heading into game one that they're likely going to have some on side. We embarrassed them during the regular season, and Boston came out hot in the first period, but the Hurricanes really took control pretty late into that first period and into the second period, and then ran away with it. So I think that's still something that our Hurricanes are going to need to watch out for here in this game. And Boston, they're not the same team that they once were, but you still have that same core. You still have David Pastrnak. You still have Patrice Bergeron. You still have Brad Marchand. And you still have really good players on that team that you got to watch out for. So the Hurricanes can't let, those guys get to them early. And the Hurricanes are going to have to be the ones pressuring early. And speaking of that, Bruce Cassidy said that Allmark would be getting the start in game 2 as well. And we were able to get the best of him pretty darn well in game 1. So, like I said, no slow starts and pressure him early. Pressure him for the full 60 minutes from that opening horn all the way to the end. Pressure him the full 60 minutes. Okay? Because, you know, we got the best of him before. We can do it again. Yeah, him and the rest of the Bruins team is gonna know that, but there's blood in the water. Take advantage of it. Get the best of the guy and rattle him early. I said last postseason that a way to get to Alex Nedeljkovic was rattling him early in the periods. In those all important first 2, 3, 4 minutes of a period, get to him then. Don't let him settle in. Don't do it because we all know what a goalie can do when they settle in and find their groove in a game. I said, whenever that last game against the Red Wings, when Alex Nedeljkovic got his shutout in Raleigh, I think it was about halfway or so through the second period. I said to my girlfriend, it's over. Ned's in a groove. It's Detroit's game. And we can't let something like that happen in this game. And like I said, create that pressure early. And if we can do that, I think we'll be fine. And take advantage of opportunities, whether it be on power play, even strength, or whatever it may be. Take advantage of those opportunities that are put in front of us. Because, yeah, the Hurricanes did do good about that in even strength situations. In game one, we obviously won 5-1. And, really from that second and third period, it was the Hurricanes game. So I think that the Hurricanes, they did good on that, but power play opportunities really got to take advantage of those. It was a draw there in game one. Both teams went 0 for 3. So it ended up not necessarily mattering. And, even if the Bruins did score one power play goal, we still won 5-1. So, or we would have won 5-2 in that situation. But that's not always going to be the case. And the power play really, really needs to step up their game here in game two. I really want to see us, have at least one power play goal. I know that stuff, is kind of, you get what you get, and, you're not necessarily guaranteed to have multiple power play opportunities at all. But take advantage of the ones you do get. And I think that the Hurricanes need to do that. I really want to see them do that. But another really big thing that I think the Hurricanes are going to need to do, they did it well in game one, but be physical. Physical. In game one, there are 90 hits total between both teams. The Hurricanes had 48 hits in that game one, and every Hurricane that was playing had at least one hit. And I said, balanced team game. That's what I'm talking about right there. Yeah, you had 12 different players, record points, and that's great as well. Of course, that's great. But again, a full, complete, balanced team game. Every player recorded at least one hit. Stuff like that is what I'm talking about when that will be what carries this team through the postseason. Stuff like that. Guys up and down the lineup, coming up on the score sheet, having every player record at least one hit. That's the kind of stuff that I want to see from this team. And I mean, we knew heading into this series that it was going to be physical, that it was going to be chippy. We knew that. I mean, this is the third time in 4 postseasons that these teams are playing each other. Yeah, different faces and whatnot, but again, a lot of these guys remember that 19 Eastern Conference Final. They remember 2020 in the bubble. They remember that stuff. And you look to game 2 and just this series in general, that frustration was still going to be there from the Hurricanes. And then on the Bruins side of things, the regular season, how the Hurricanes embarrassed them. We knew this was going to be a very physical and chippy series. And it wouldn't surprise me if we see some guys drop the gloves. I mean, we've been seeing that a lot as of late. We saw it, in Toronto and Tampa. We saw it in Minnesota, St. Louis. We saw it in Calgary and Dallas. We're seeing it a lot. We know the playoffs are a very, very physical thing and time of year. So it wouldn't surprise me if we see something like that here tonight in game 2. My big thing with that would bring that physicality. And if you drop the gloves, I don't want to see, guys get hurt. We're lucky right now. Everyone's that's played in game 1, they're fine. They're good to go for game 2. But I think that the Hurricanes really they need to bring that physicality, but also play safe as well. But looking ahead to the lineup for tonight, that's going to be interesting to see how things go here tonight. But we will dive into that right after this quick break. Now, folks, it's summertime, or springtime. Summertime's right around the corner, and folks are going outside, enjoying the nice weather, enjoying hikes, walking their dog, whatever it may be. And if you're going on these walks, enjoying the nice weather, you need a snack. And Built Bar is here to be that snack for you. Built Bar is a protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. And the best part about Built Bars is that they're healthy and delicious. So no more sacrificing delicious food for health. With Built Bar, you can have both, and it's easy. All you have to do is go to built.com and order now. All Built Bars and their puffs are covered in 100% real chocolate. That means that with Built Bar, you can eat healthy and actually enjoy doing it. And right now, there are so many flavors of Built Bar. There's something for everyone. You have the puffs that come in different flavors. They have banana cream pie and churro. And then, of course, there's the 12 flavors of the actual Built, plus their limited time flavors as well. So there's going to be something for everyone. And Built Bars contain only 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. Compare that to a candy bar, which usually has around 240 calories, 30 grams, and dozens of net carbs. So right now, you can go to built.com and get all your favorite banana cream pie, raspberry, double chocolate, and so many more. And there is something for everyone here. So go to built.com and use promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCKED15 at built.com. Looking ahead to the lineup for tonight for the Carolina Hurricanes, this is going to be, I think, it's just lineup. I don't think, and I don't mean that in the way that we're going to, or I really don't think we change anything at all. I really don't. I think the Hurricanes, they had everything going for them in game 1, and I really don't see a whole lot changing, if anything, really. Everyone's good to go health wise. No one's going to be out with injuries that played in game 1. So I think you really just roll with the same lineup that you had in game 1. I really, really do. I don't see any reason to shake anything up. You're firing on all there. I think what you need to work on, i.e. your slow stars, stuff like that, that doesn't require changing your main lineup. Maybe you could shake up your power play units a little bit, maybe. But again, I don't think that the main lineup really needs to change at all. I think you still roll with Antti Raanta here in game 2. I mean, made again 35 saves on 36 shots, in game one. That was his first career postseason start, and he played out of his mind. I don't think you change him. I don't think you go with Piotr. I don't think you go Jack, and you just let Antti Ranta keep going. Yeah, he's the well. I mean, you've only played one game, but he's quote unquote the hot hands right now. So I think that's who you roll with here. I don't see any reason to change it, and your entire lineup, your forwards, I think all that stays the same. I do. I don't see any reason to change any of it. Your defenseman, I think you roll with the same stuff you had last game. If anything gets changed, I say it's the power play units. I really think that's the only thing you could really look at changing. But looking at the lineup, we'll look at the line the previous game, just to run it down pretty much. For you're new here during the playoffs, we'll run down the lineup for last, because again, I think that's what we're going with here. I think top line, Svechnikov, Jarvis, second line, Domi, Trocheck, Teravainen, third line, Niederreiter, Stahl, Foss, fourth line, Martinook, Kotkaniemi, Natchez. On defense, Slavin, D'Angelo, Shea,